thank you so much for joining me for abs, thighs, glutes. My name is Audra, and tonight we're going to use a ball and a mini band. However, if you don't have access to a ball, you can fold a pillow a couple times. If you don't have access to a mini band, that's okay, just skip it. And as always, listen to your body. Don't do anything that doesn't feel right. You're always welcome to modify and adjust, and breaks are great. All right, let's get started. And just so you guys know, I tend to watch a lot in that mirror and this one, so I'm still watching you, even if my back is turned, I promise. We're actually going to begin on our back, knees bent, feet flat. Your prop can be in between your knees. And we're just gonna check in to start and see where our body is, right? So I want you to kind of feel where your toes are pointed. Are they splayed out or are they forward? Are your hip bones diving forward? Are your ribs popping? Or is your low back crunched on the ground? Or are you in a nice neutral? And then just pay attention to your shoulder blades. If you feel the back edge of your shoulder blade as opposed to a nice flat position, see if you can melt your shoulder blades down into the ground here. And then just notice where your nose is. Is it up, down, or just center? And then we can either bring our palms down to the ground or just relaxed up to the sky. And we're just gonna let our pelvis rock a couple times from neutral to imprint. So on your exhale, think about sinking your ribs down towards your belly button, hugging your hip bones towards each other so our abs are engaged. And then we tilt our pelvis so our tailbone points towards our face, and then rock back to neutral. We're just starting small. Exhale, find that engagement, and then curl, and then back. On our inhale, try to allow your torso to expand three-dimensionally, right? So your back and the sides of your ribs, your pelvic floor lowers as your diaphragm lowers. And then as you exhale, think of a corseting muscle bringing it all together, and then we move. Last one like this. And hold your imprint. Now press your hands into the floor or some yoga blocks if you need a little assist. And we bring ourselves up into a bridge. Now, first one never counts, right? Make sure that your weight isn't on your neck and ribs aren't popping. Weight should be on your shoulders. And then just press your hands into either the floor or your yoga blocks and see if your triceps can kick on a little bit more. See if it helped you elevate from your pelvis and like low part of your body, and then melt and roll all the way down. Go ahead and come on back into your imprint, and then we peel up. So as we're peeling up, it is a little bit about spinal articulation. It also can help us not come into this kind of arched position, right? We want to keep the glutes active, that whole posterior chain active, and then melt from your throat, your sternum, your ribs, your low back, your hips. Just one more like this. Making sure you're not just hovering, but you're also pushing your feet into the mat. And then all the way back down. Head. Interlace your hands behind your head. Spiral your elbows forward. Shoulder blades melt down your back. So one reason we're spiraling the elbows forward is we're trying to get our serratus here as opposed to just the pec. On your exhale, sink your ribs down so you can curl your collarbones forward and hold. Now squeeze the prop, bring your hands forward, push them into an imaginary surface to maybe get a tiny bit more engagement. Bring the fingertips back, hold, interlace, and then slowly lower. As we hold, the more you can expand your breath into the backs of your ribs, the more it's going to help you maintain this, right? So for example, if when I breathe, I pop my ribs, that's sending my breath up. And that means that if I'm breathing this way, it's going to cause me to lower down no matter what I do and bring more tension into my neck. Whereas if I expand into the back of my body, I could stay here a lot longer with less effort, right? And one more. Make sure you hold that. Arms up, hold. Looking forward, just squeeze your prop and relax halfway. Squeeze your prop again. As you squeeze your prop on your exhale, see if you can deepen the engagement of your intrinsic core stabilizers. Couple more here. Last two. Last one. Slowly come all the way down. Now, we're going to bring one hand forward. Shoulder blade melts out of the ear, but without force. Come into your chest lift, hand glides forward. Now, flip your palm. And we're just going to rotate so you can look at your hand. If your hand slid away from you, you side bent, come back to center. Now try to keep your hand right where it is as you rotate. Good. And back. Couple more. Everybody's starting to feel those obliques just a little baby bit. Great. Don't worry, it'll get harder. Last one like this. Come back to center, switch hands. You can always bring your head down in between if you need to. Keep that opposite hip down, and we're trying not to find that side bend, right? We're trying to find rotation, right? So we're lengthening through our spine and just rotating our rib cage around it. Couple more. 3, 2, last one. Come back to center, switch hands. Now, the hand that you just reached away, you're actually going to flip up and over to the same side you just went to. And then as you exhale, reach up with that fingertip a little bit. So it's like you're just sawing your leg a little baby bit. You do not need to get up super high. It's about that connection, right? If this is your range, I'd prefer that than just coming up into your hip flexors. How's everybody doing? Great. 3, 2, last one. Come back to center. We're switching hands. So flip it, reach it, and then inhale, exhale, curl just a little baby bit higher. Now, even though our neck is not involved here, we are trying to curl almost up and over an imaginary beach ball, or you are sinking your low abs down before you move. So your transverse abdominis is going to help your rectus abdominis. We have 3, 2, last one. Come back to center, head comes down. Nice job. Go ahead, take the ball, let it fall out from between your knees. Bring one foot on top of it. Yes, we're bridging like this. Now, before we do that, just kind of press down into your foot and let it circle a couple times. And then other side. Now, let the knee collapse in. And then take the knee out as you press. Do you see how the knee position changes what part of your hamstring is active? Now bring that knee back and let your foot point in, and then let your foot point out. Do you feel the difference there? where your knee stays still, pointing at the sky. We're just rotating our foot only. And then back to center. All right, so now if you only feel the outside or you only feel the inside, you know how to adjust your foot slightly to get everything active, yeah? Great. Push down into that ball, push down into the floor with your other foot, hip hinge up, and hold. Hamstring active? Yeah. Hinge halfway down, press into the ball, hinge the rest of the way up. Yeah. You can always take breaks. Yeah. Couple more. 3, still keeping those ribs down. 2. Last one, we get to hold it up. Now, if you need a break, take one. Otherwise, the leg that is attached to the floor, lift your heel. That's it. Press that heel down. Do it again. So now we're just moving one foot. If you want to get crazy, you can float that leg up. If that is too much, just the heel. Today, my hamstring wants just the heel, right? So keep pulling that heel towards you. If you get the leg too far away from you, you're gonna start putting too much pressure like behind the knee. So keep it in the meaty part of the muscle. And if you want, and you can do this without your back gripping, it's fine. Last one, come down. Now, you can extend that leg towards the sky, give your hamstring a little break for a second if you like. Yeah. And then bring your foot back onto the ball. All right. Hands behind your head. Spiraling your elbows forward. Come into your chest lift. And send your foot away. Reaching as far as you can. Almost think of trying to push your foot an inch farther away than your leg is long and let it leverage you up. Now drag it back in and then push it away. Hey, this is a great time to breathe into the back line of your body. Now, if for any reason you need your head down, you can still do this move, right? Couple more. 3. 2 more. Now reach that foot even farther away. Push it so far away that maybe half a pound of your weight starts to hover off the ball, but just half a pound. Other leg, lift your heel and then float that leg up. Reach that knee away, have it hover above the ground, and then exhale up. So that hover is kind of the hardest part because you are having to stabilize with your legs away from you, right? So if it's too challenging, bend your knee more so it doesn't go as far away. If you'd like a little bit more challenge, extend your knee slightly. Keep pushing that leg away from you. And then if you'd like more excitement, rotate towards that knee, hold. And then back. Now what I'd like you to try to do is press your elbow into your knee. And then back. Was that more work? Yeah. So we're finding an isometric contraction here. 3 more. Now, if your head is down, you can use your hands to press into your leg. Just make sure you're engaging that armpit oblique connection. Yeah? Last one. Come back to center, head comes down, roll the ball in. I have wonderful news, other side. So first, just push in to that ball. It needs to be a little bit closer in than you think it does. Like if you were to reach for your foot, you could almost touch your heel. Now, we're just gonna use that pressure of our foot, that even pressure, make a little circle. We're trying to keep that foot right on top of the ball and then circle the other way. Now keep even pressure with your foot. Let your knee come across a little bit. Now keep even pressure with your foot. Knee comes out a little bit. Back and forth a couple times. Last one like this. And now knee points towards the sky. Knee does not move. Just rotating from your ankle, let your foot point out. Notice how all of a sudden that is very lateral hamstring. Now, knee does not move. Just rotate your toes inward from that ankle. Hopefully that's very medial hamstring, right? Inner hamstring. And then toes out, boop. And then toes in, boop. And now find center. And now as we do this, if you only start to feel it one side or the other, you can adjust your foot. Bring your foot close to you, you guys. Your foot has to be right on top of that ball because otherwise you're pushing out. So push down onto the ball, push down into the floor, lift your hips, bridge. And then hinge halfway down. And then press into the ball. You guys do okay? Everybody got real quiet. Use your glutes a little. Use your soleus as well. The more you push down into your big toe mound, the more you can get that like deep calf muscle to help, as long as your foot isn't too far away from you, right? We don't want it to sneak out. If you're having to actively point your toe, your foot's too far away, right? 2 more. Last one, hold. Big breath, and then just lift your heel. Press your heel down. Other side. Now, of course, if you want, you can float it up. If your body says, what are you doing? Just keep with the heel, right? Yeah. Yeah, maybe you lift, maybe you don't. But keep pushing down into that ball. Good, we have 3. We have 2. Last one, come down, interlace your hands behind your head. We're gonna come on up. But you still have the option to keep your head down. All right, if you want to, of course, you can extend that leg, get that hamstring to move, and then push it away from you. Reaching your foot as far away as possible. And then press down, bring yourself back. A few more. Trying, if you're maintaining your chest lift, to look forward and not up, right? And if your elbows are super wide, that's actually causing scapular retraction. So think about your shoulder blades widening. Your elbows can be in your periphery. Now reach this foot out so far that it's trying to help leverage you up, and maybe you take half a pound off the ball and that other leg can come up, allowing that thigh bone to slide down in the socket. And then you lengthen that knee away from you, hover it, and then let it fold. Good. Great job, everybody. Yeah. Using your breath. Anybody not feeling their abs a little bit? Great. Give me just a couple more. Now, when you're ready, we get to rotate, and we're gonna try to get that elbow to the knee and hold, finding that isometric contraction, and then back. Inhale, exhale, rotate, hold. Gorgeous, everybody. Few more. Trying not to lower in between. So just coming to center, not lowering down. If all of a sudden you can look at the sky, you've lowered down. Maintain that lift. Try to keep your shoulder blades hovering off the ground if you can. 2. Last one. Go ahead, come back to center. Go ahead, bring the ball closer to you and move it out of the way. Now go ahead, bring your arms to the sky, fingertips up. Now arm bones relax down, and then just take your palms up to the sky, knuckles down. Now this T position is great. You can also be in a goal post, whatever works best for you. So go ahead, bring one leg up to tabletop, other leg comes to meet it. Imagine squeezing your legs together as if you're trying to pop a balloon. Ribs close. We're not going to allow our body to arch here. So let one hip lift while the other hip lowers, and we hold. Inhale into your back. Exhale, if you want, extend your legs and drag them back. Otherwise, just drag them back and bend. Other side. Hold. And then maybe extend. Bring it back because your ribs are dragging the legs back, right? If you think of like your ribs as the steering wheel and your legs as the rest of the vehicle, right? Even though the tires are what's like going, like attaching the ground, they're still being controlled by the steering wheel, right? Good. One more each side. Last one. Now you have options here. We're going to bend your knees, take them a little bit to one side, only about 30% of what you did before. If you need your feet on the ground here, that is okay. I'm going to show both. Hands come behind your head. Chest is now still pointing towards the sky here, and you're just going to lift your sternum forward. So it's not at your knees, it is at your thigh, and then back down. Now, sometimes I'll actually get more out of feet down because I'm more supported. Sometimes I'll get more out of feet up. But still try to balance just on that one hip. The other hip is still elevated. Last one. Hold. Now all we're going to do, bring the hips back, other side. Hold. Lower your head. Bring it up. Now if you need to, still keep that hip elevated, but your toes can be down, right? Couple more. How's everybody doing? That little balance wiggle happening? All right, we have 3, 2 more. Last one, hold, and just take the knees up and over to the opposite side. Hold, take the knees back. Try to keep your shoulder blades off the mat. Maybe the bottom tips barely touch. That's really going to challenge you because if you're down lower, you've got a wider base of support, right? Here isn't nearly as much effort, which is also fine if you need your head down. That is okay, all right? You just have a couple more. Trying not to move your upper body at all. That's the fun challenge. Last one. Come back to center. One foot comes down. The other foot pushes away from you. Now, keeping your body in one piece as opposed to rotating from either your hips or torso, push your foot into the ground, rotate to one side. So you're going to rotate away from the foot that's on the ground. So rotate towards her. No, yeah, there you go. So your hips are going to open. Yeah, and then back. So think of if you did a clamshell, how you're coming into an external rotation. It's the same like rotation of the thigh. Keep your foot down, please, Kyle. Your bent foot, push it into the ground. Keep your whole foot on the ground. Yeah, use that glute. Yeah. Now, if this is where you are and you're like, cool, I don't want to up level it. You don't have to. You absolutely can stay here. If you're like, that's too easy, extend both feet. Still try to maintain one cylinder. Last one. And then other side. So bend the other foot, reach that first one out, right? So we're pushing into the floor to help get that glute active. Inner thigh kicks on when you rotate towards it and back. So that extended leg is the leg we're rotating towards. Yeah. Maybe this is where you stay. Maybe not. Now, if you want, reach that other leg out. Try not to let the legs dip or the back arch if you can help it. That's sinking the ribs down. So you're maintaining that kind of hollow hundreds shape, but then you're making a little U shape. Almost there. Last one. And come back. Everything comes down. That sound was hilarious. Who did the ugh? All right, bring your arms up. Shoulder blades draw down your back, arms overhead, using your breath here. Don't be afraid to bend your knees. We are going to do roll-ups, so if there are some props that you need to feel successful, it's fine. Roll forward on your inhale. Exhale, curl forward. Now, if you feel your hips or you tend to brace, see if you can be like the ball rolling. So hands come forward, shoulders down, lift your ribs, nod your chin. So we're gonna curl back an inch, hold. Good. Check in, inhale. Exhale, tuck your tailbone only to initiate that curl. Good, inhale. Exhale, curl by tucking your tailbone more. And then again. Good, everybody. Now we reverse it. So you're initiating from the top, right? Your head, your shoulders, your ribs roll, making a C shape. And a couple more. So just check in. If there tends to be something like on your way up where all of a sudden you just kind of hinge and you feel your quads doing the work, they probably are, right? So think more about folding and rolling forward rather than up, right? Good. You guys look so good. Do you want to try something really exciting? Yeah? Great. Okay, we're going to do my one of my nemesis. So it's called neck pull, but please don't actually pull on your neck. So we're doing it after the roll-ups because you can always, always, always just stick with roll-ups. Make sure you breathe. Hands behind your head. Now, instead of your head coming forward, we are lifting, nod your chin, elbows slightly forward, shoulders down. Good. Now, imagine that you're just pulling down kind of like your sweaty workout top, so your ribs are connected. Hinge back. So hinge, hold. Now curl slowly, roll, and then keep your hands behind your head if you can as you roll back. And then restack. Yay! Now, if at any point you're like, I'm almost there, but you need a little bit of assistance, when you come up, bring your arms forward and then hands behind your head. Have you tried a little gardening pad underneath your back? Yeah, it's kind of awesome. I would grab one. Yeah. Good. Good. Yeah. Good. That's okay, it still looked great. I'm not mad about it, right? Good. And then restack. Good. Yeah. And then one more, everybody. Use your breath. Yeah, that would look so good. That looks so good. Yeah. 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 You what? Yeah, it's so helpful. It offloads. Yeah. And then bring it back. So now scoot forward just a little bit. We're going to bend our knees. And go ahead, use your hands to help you here. Bring one knee close to your chest. Shoulders draw down. Pull your belly button away. So now you're hugging. And then use your abs here to keep the leg in. Okay? Now, if you need to, you can always bring your hands back. Other foot stays on the ground. We're going to roll back a few inches. Keep it in. Yeah. And then back. Yeah, we're not going all the way unless you really want to. If you need the assistance of the hands, that's fine. It just kind of tells you where you are. Yeah. Try to keep the knee towards your face though. If you're like, I don't know how to do that, hold the ball. It makes it a little bit more fun. Yeah. Yeah. And you're here. Yeah. 2 more. Yeah. You what? If it doesn't feel good in your low back, put the ball behind your back and use that. Yeah. Yeah. Is that better? Yeah. Yeah, we're going to do the other side. So now, once again, you can always use your arms. You can keep them there. Or you can use your hands to initiate and then use those abs. You can always use the ball as an indicator of where we're going. Or if your back is like, I don't love this, put the ball behind it. It's going to give you some support. Okay? All the options all the time. We have 3. Good. 2 more. Yeah. Last one. Nice job, you guys. Take the prop, stick it behind your back. And go ahead. Find the lower part of your ribs on the ball. Hands behind your head. Relax over it to start. Okay. So we're trying to get extension through our entire spine. So if you tend to only extend through your thoracic, let your lumbar extend too. If you tend to only extend through your lumbar and cervical, let that thoracic extend as well. Now on your next exhale, nod your chin, curl forward, and just use the ball to help get you at a good angle. Now, notice how your ribs are drawing down towards your belly button. Keep them there. Resist gravity on the way down. Right. And then exhale, curl forward, hold. Now, once again, we're starting from the top and then curling vertebra by vertebra, right? A couple more here. 3. Slowly resisting gravity, right? So technically, that whole eccentric load where you get a lot stronger faster is when it's like overloaded. So you can't actually control it. However, if you squeeze your muscles, you can make them work harder, right? So if I like make like my guns and then push away, I can make my muscle work harder, which is what we're asking of our abdominals here. Now on your next one, instead of curling from the top down, we're curling from the bottom up. So you're in your extension, curl your tailbone towards your face, and then undulate up from there. Good. Yeah. Does it feel okay on your back? You can always move it if you need to. Yeah. Good. So nice. And you can bring your elbows just forward a little bit more. Yeah. So think about the tailbone curling, belly button sinking back. All of a sudden, the collarbones come forward. Yeah. Slowly extend. 2 more. Trying to, I know this sounds crazy, but relax your buns. So otherwise, they're going to try to help. Last one. Hold. Now get a little tiny bit closer to your prop. And we're not going to extend all the way now. So keep those ribs in, but we're slowly coming just to right before you come into that flip top lid, right? So ribs are still pointed down. Everybody feel their abs working? And then just curl forward a millimeter. Yeah. And then back just a millimeter. If you need more work, get closer to the ball, right? Because we're still trying to keep that integration of the rib cage. Good. 2 more. Nice. Lovely, everybody. Last one. Hold, hold, hold. Curl forward. Now, just for fun, move your hips pretty far away from the ball. So it's kind of in between your shoulder blades. Hands are still supporting your head, but we are not pulling on your head. Push your feet into the ground, lift your hips. We've just bridged on an unstable surface. Now push one foot into the ground, the other heel lifts. Switch. Try to keep those hips as still and stable as possible. If you're feeling really, just excited about everything, you can always float that leg up, but just be aware it's more challenging than it seems like it should be, right? We're trying to keep those hips evenly distributed, right? So if you can lift your foot, but you have to shift your whole body to do it, bring it back, just keep the toes barely on the ground. 2, last set. Hips come down, relax over the ball. Nice job, you guys. You can extend those legs. Come on up. Nice. All right. Guess what time it is? Yeah, we're gonna grab that mini band. So the mini band lower below the knees is way harder. You're welcome to do that. I'm gonna bring the mini band up above my knees. Now first, we're gonna bring our hands behind us. You can have your fingers facing your feet, or you can have them facing out. I personally prefer out for myself. And then widen through your collarbones here as if you're taking off a big jacket. Feet are together. And you can actually even bring your toes together, heels apart to start. It'll just create a little internal rotation at the hip joint. And then exhale, spiral both of your knees out a little bit. Keep your big toe mound down. So it's tempting to supinate, I need them down. And then in, good. Exhale, rotate. So it's like a double clamshell, kind of like a double rainbow, you guys. Yeah. You don't think it's like a double rainbow? Oh. Good. And just double rainbow. Couple more. Still pushing into the floor to lift your collarbones. Keeping your big toe mound down. Don't supinate. Do you want to know why I don't want you to supinate? Takes some of the work out of your glutes. Moves it to your ankle. And last one like this. Hold. And just tiny little presses out. 5, 4, 3, 2, hold. Keep one knee where it is. Other knee comes in. Now that knee goes out, hold, switch. And back. Good, back and forth, trying to keep that knee nice and stable. And this is a little different than some of what we do, right? Because we're doing it upright. Got a couple more. Everybody feeling those glutes starting to kick on just a little bit? Yeah. Now, if you, of course, if you want more work, you can come up into this little like partial plank position, but it's a lot more on the shoulders. It's a lot more on the hamstrings. Good. Yeah. Almost there. You can also, yeah, you can also get rid of the band if you need to. Last one, bring yourself down, coming onto all fours. Don't get rid of the band. You can always come onto your forearms if that's a better position for you. You can always be on your fists. Otherwise, with being on your hands, I want your shoulders to be pretty directly over your wrists. Forward is just more pressure on your wrists. We're going to push more into our pointer finger mound. And then think about pulling our hands apart, right? As if the mat is a piece of paper and you want to slide it. Now, we're in a quadruped, not a knee plank. Lifting your belly button slightly. Slide one foot out. Good. Now, making sure you're still hugging your abs in. We're going to bring that leg in, other side. So just back and forth. If the band starts crawling, if you just slide it right underneath your knees for a second, you're going to trap underneath the knee a little. And it just kind of helps hold it in place. But it's also a little less comfortable. So it's up to you and your body today. Good. Couple more. Kyle, widen through your collarbones. Don't drop your ears. Your arms are a little bit far in front of you. Bring them a little bit closer underneath you. And then keep them nice and straight here. Yeah. Does that feel more supported? Good. And then, actually, that looks pretty good. Yeah, great, everybody. Now, if you're ready, extend one foot out. Other foot comes to meet it. Kyle, tuck your tailbone. Other direction. There you go. Good. And then if you're ready, you can tap one foot out and then other side. If it makes you like booty pop, come onto your knees and tap. Good. Few more. 5, 4. Nice job, everybody. Lengthening through your ears. Last set. Knees down. Press yourselves into a rest position. Nice job. All right. Go ahead, come on to your forearms. Now, if you're pretty spread out, it's going to be a lot more work on your back and your hip flexors. So bring your knees and forearms a little bit closer together than you think they need to be. Press your knees down and out slightly so your side glutes already kick on, okay? Good, glad we had this talk. Hover, just think about, Kyle, even if they start together, press them down and wide and they're gonna separate. Now hover one foot off the floor, extend it away from you. You can also do it against the wall, yeah. Now just paintbrush that foot up the wall just a little baby bit. We have 5, 4, 3, lower abs kicking on, 2. Now all we're gonna do here is not from the foot, but from the whole thigh, rotate that knee out to the side a little bit. Same thing. 5. Good. 4. 3. 2. Last one. Hold. Now rotating from the thigh, rotate that knee inward and then lift. Feel a different part of your glute here. Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Other side. That wasn't so bad, was it? Yeah. Extend it out, hovering it. Good. Now, if at any point you're like, man, my neck, instead of dropping it down, use your prop to tuck your chin. So you're just drawing that heel back in space. If you love to hyperextend your knee, think about your kneecap being drawn up your thigh rather than just fully straightening it. So we're trying to get a little bit of hip extension more than knee extension. 4, good. 3, 2, hold. Moving from the thigh bone, rotate that knee out. And same move. 5. And it's small. We're not going all the way to the ground here. We're coming into small extension already and then trying to get a little bit more. 2. And then rotate in from that thigh. Good. Few more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice job. Come on to your side. How's everybody doing? So good? Great. Okay, we're going to take that foot, or nope, that's not the word, your hip, and rotate your hip forward. Your top knee will be slightly forward. And then check out where your torso is, right? So if you're sinking into those ribs, you're kind of like hanging out. So imagine that I want to slide a sheet of paper underneath you, and you just want to make enough space to allow it. So we're trying to find that nice long spine. Yeah. Bring your feet up without that hip bone rotating forward. So we're keeping that hip back, just allowing that femur to rotate. Now squeeze your heels together. I would bring your knees slightly more forward. Yeah. And you're just going to let that knee come up. And then slowly lower. Couple more. Good. Now, let's talk about this. If you feel the front corner of your hip rather than the back corner of your hip, a couple things to keep in mind. Are you tucking? If you're tucking, your TFL is more likely to try to work. If it's rolling forward, it's more likely to try to work. So think almost about sticking your tailbone back, like really sticking your butt out. Like, yeah, exactly. And then think about the thigh bone rotating. Is that a little bit more directed towards the back? Good. 2 more. Good. Hold this last one up. Now keep your knee right where it is. Lift your foot. And then foot down. Oh, hello booty. More excitement? Yeah. 3. Once again, when you internally rotate, if that TFL is like, I want to help, it kind of pulls that hip forward. So you can also just use your thumb here to tell it doesn't need to do all the work. Last one. And then all the way down. Smack that hip out. Good. Nice job, you guys. Now, we're going to try to get our inner thigh a little bit. So slide that hip or that top knee back behind the bottom knee. So all you did is back. So the hip bone rotated back as well. Now, all you're going to do, think about that top knee only. Drive the top knee down into the bottom knee. That's it. You might not even be able to see anything. But did you feel how that inner thigh just kicked on? Yeah. And then relax. Top knee only. Drive it down, down, down. And relax. Couple more. Now, the cool thing about muscles is so many things help each other out. So your inner thigh muscles are adductors, right? They bring the leg closer to the body. They are internal rotators, and they're stabilizers. Your TFL is an abductor and an internal rotator. So we're going to drive that knee down. So we're kind of abducting, and then we're going to allow maybe that foot to lift a little if you can get it from your inner thigh, not the TFL, and then back down. Good. So don't worry about how high up the foot goes. Worry about the muscular engagement. Yeah. 2 more. Side note, the posterior fibers of one of your adductor muscles, especially the adductor magnus, does have different jobs, but we'll get into that later. 2 more. So if you're like, but this one does that. Yes, yes. Last one. And then bring it in. All right, we're coming up onto our elbow here. And instead of hanging out in that shoulder, we're gonna push down into the floor. Good. Close the ribs, press down into your knee, little knee plank. Fold over your ribs a little. Yeah, but then look at Stephanie. There you go. Now, that looks good. So that bottom leg is helping, that top leg is helping. And then you can tap the hip down and lift up. Now, maybe you want more work than this. Try to tap by moving your spine rather than sinking into the shoulder. Yeah, so yeah. Now maybe you extend a foot. Maybe you extend both feet. Maybe you don't. We have 2 more. Good. Last one. Good. Other side, everybody. You can do the little mer person wiggle. Yes. Yeah, you can shavasana. It's so good. All right, so find that hip dropping away from your face, ribs lifting, and then both heels can come up. And it's just so you can start in an internal rotation, but make sure you haven't dumped that hip forward. You're still sliding that hip bone away from your face. Kyle, stick your butt out. Yeah. Now it's a spiral of the thigh bone. Now, if you are getting your knee to the sky, but your hip is rotating back, it's more likely to change the work from the back of your leg to the front pocket, right? So keep it where it works for you. We have just a few more here. Widening through your sits bones. If you need to, you can always bring your foot to the ground, or you can prop it up like on a ball or a yoga block. So if you need the support, but that internal rotation works for you, that's fine too. We have 2 more like this. On the last one, we hold. Keep your knee still, lift your foot. Keep your knee still, lower your foot. Yeah. So you're basically coming into external rotation by dropping that foot, right? Yeah. Kyle, keep your knee up a little bit more. Yeah. Good. Is that a little bit more glute? 3, 2, last one. Bring both knees down. Slide that top knee behind the bottom. That hip will draw back. And only worry about that top leg. Drive the knee down. That's it. We're not moving the leg. We're just finding that inner thigh. And relax. And then again, drive the top knee down. How's that feeling, everybody? It's exciting, right? I love a move that doesn't look like much, but all of a sudden you're like, why is this so challenging? Yeah. Now, if you can do it without that top hip or the front part of your hip gripping, we're gonna push the knee down and then allow that inner thigh to start with that internal rotation. Now, once again, if you go really high, but you feel out here rather than that inner thigh more, keep it low, right? So drive down first, and then imagine that inner thigh creating rotation, right? Trying to keep that hip bone stationary, like you have like a little spit. Yeah. because we're trying to separate out movement from our spine versus our hip joint. 2 more. Last one. Hey, Kyle, it's time. Yeah, 3. All right, we're gonna come on to our stomach. And just kind of shake your hips a little from side to side. And think about your pubic bone being heavier than those hip bones, right? Belly button just gently pulling up away from the mat. Now, we're gonna bring those hands to your side, shoulder blades draw down, press them into the floor a little, and just get a little tiny bit of spinal extension. And then think about those legs hovering up. We're gonna let those heels click together. Glutes should be working, boom, good. And we're just like clapping with our feet. Good, clap, 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 good. 5. And the wider you take your feet, the more the glutes are gonna work. And come down. Now, just think about lifting the feet slightly and then press your hands into the floor to help get a little bit more spinal extension. The feet will need to come down a little, and then the feet can come up as you lower. And again, still using your abdominals here, trying to get extension through your whole spine, right? So if you tend to only get it through your lumbar, you have to kind of use your collarbones to come forward. 2 more, good. Only come into a range that feels good for you, right? If that is here, perfect. Last one. And then press yourself into a rest position for a second. Hands up and over to one side. Push your hips away from your hands. And then other direction. Then we get to come to standing. So go ahead, come all the way to standing and take your mini band off. Yeah. And first, we're just going to integrate it a little bit. So bring 1 foot forward, 1 foot back just a little bit. And then ignore that back leg, it no longer exists. You're going to let your knee, hip, and ankle of that front foot bend just a little bit, okay? Good. And then trying to keep your weight over that front leg, right? Since the back leg doesn't exist on the front, yeah. Gorgeous. Now, all we're gonna do, tap that foot behind you, bring it in, reach it out. It's kind of like Scooter on the reformer. Good. Couple more. 3, 2. Now you have options. You can either keep that foot hovering or tap it down. We're gonna keep this knee soft, hip hinge. So keeping your spine coming along for the ride, rotating from those hips, and then push down into the floor to bring your hips back. Keep that knee bent. Yeah, and then slide your sits bones back. Widen your toes on the ground. Good. How's that feeling, everybody? Good. Now, if you're in between toe down and toe up, you can find a wall or a couch, and it's going to close that kinetic chain to offer a little support, but it's a little bit less support than you would have on the ground. Other side. So find that little sink, right? Ankle, knee, and hip all moves. And then that back foot slides. Yeah. Now, if your back likes to round here, you might feel a pull. So widen through your sits bones. Use that glute to help stabilize you. It's like a half squat. 3, 2, and then we hip hinge. So just hip hinge, press into the floor, keep that knee soft because we're coming into hip extension before knee extension. Why is that important, you guys? Walking. When we walk, we should be able to both have knee extension, but also hip extension with a bent knee. It's how we propel ourselves forward. Last 3. Last 2. Nice job. Last 1. Feet together, nod your chin, hollow out through the front of your body, rolling all the way down. And just gently nod your head yes, and gently shake your head no. And nod yes. Push your feet into the floor, scoop, and roll all the way up. Bring your shoulders to your ears, drop them straight down. Nice job, you guys. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you so much for joining me.